All right, hey everybody, welcome back. It's time for part two of campaign finance, which is all we'll be doing with today. And in this case, in this course, we will deal with that last of our 15 major cases as well. Plus, then there'll be an assignment about that, of course, today as well. All right, so we're picking up on PACs. Now we're going to talk about the types of PACs that there are. So political action committees, there are the ones that we call connected, and they are connected to something, corporations, unions, trade organizations, something like that. They cannot use funds from their treasury. Say it's the Teamsters Union or something like that. The Teamsters Union does contribute through a PAC to candidates that support unionization and whatnot, but they can't use the dues that they collect from their members. If you're a member of a union, you have to pay dues to that union. They cannot use that money. They have to that's in their treasury. They can't use that money. They have to use specific money donated for political purposes. So they can get donations from their employees, and they often solicit and get donations from their employees or their members. The Teamsters would have members, corporations would have employees, and they can put those into a PAC. They could say, we're doing this, so it has to be known. Okay, if you would like to contribute money to our political organizational PAC, then you can, and that's how they do it. So they can't use funds from their treasury, corporation, trade organization, union, what have you. All right, donations are subject to limits, and the next one is non-connected. So sort of the opposite, right? No sponsoring organization. So there's not a corporation, a union, a trade organization, or anything like that. Basically, these are the things that form around single issues, the interest groups using a PAC that form around single issues. For instance, in a minute, they get funds from the general public. They solicit, hey, would you like to donate? Please donate to this. Please donate to that. Foundations, they can ask foundations for money and things like that. The donations are subject to limits. Again, so the same types of limits. A couple of examples: the National Rifle Association is one of these, revolving around a specific issue. Emily's List is one, revolving around a specific issue, that solicit donations either from their members, sometimes like the NRA has members, or they solicit donations just from the public, as do any of these. All right, the next kind is called a leadership PAC. These can be formed by any current or former elected official. Okay, so a current or former elected official can form one of these. And they raise money from the general public, from foundations, etc., just like the unconnected PACs do. Okay, except they're formed like by, there's, Nancy Pelosi has one, right? Or Chuck Schumer has one, or Mitch McConnell has one, what have you. And they're used to donate to other candidates for office. So this is different now. So it's a politician-started PAC that raises money and then distributes it to other candidates to get them elected. So, Mitch McConnell's is going to go to get senators elected from the Republican Party. Chuck Schumer is going to go to the opposite, get senators elected from the Democratic Party, that kind of thing. They cannot be used to fund the campaign of the official who did it. So if it's Chuck Schumer's, he can't use the money in there to fund his own campaign. Okay, it's got to be somebody else's campaign. These are really interesting because what it does is this is how they get people on their side. This helps them with leadership. The donations, again, are subject to limits. So there's this Majority Committee PAC led by Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader at the moment, PAC to the Future. Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi are part of that particular thing. And what they do is, say if it's Nancy Pelosi, she'll use this PAC to help elect Democrats to the House. And so when the money is used to help get a Democrat elected and that Democrat gets elected, Nancy Pelosi will never hesitate to remind them that I gave you some money, so therefore you need to do what I tell you to do. You need to be loyal to me. And it works the same with all of the politicians on all the sides. So the last of our types of PACs, super PACs. You may have heard of them. It's an interesting name for them. These were created after the Citizens United decision that we will talk about momentarily. They can be formed by anyone. You could try to form one if you want, whatever. They can collect from anyone. Formed by anyone, collect from anyone. The only thing is they cannot coordinate with candidates. So if I wanted to form one and there was a particular candidate out there that I was trying to help, I couldn't coordinate with that campaign. I couldn't say, hey, Joe Smith over there, here, I'm going to make this kind of ad and then you can piggyback on that or what have you. I'll just do my thing. Joe Smith does his thing, but we can't coordinate together. There are no limits for super PACs. That's probably why the word super is in there. There's no limits. So there's no contribution limits. There is no collection limits. And the reason is that it's only going to be like soft money. So there's one called the Congressional Leadership Fund. That's a conservative super PAC, and there's an opposite one called the Senate Majority PAC. That's a liberal PAC. So they're super PAC. Oh, there's lots of these out there. Okay, I just gave you a couple of examples. Okay, the last bit will be about Citizens United, our last of our big 15. All right. So the story behind it, there was a lobbying group called Citizens United that made a movie called Hillary the Movie, and this is in 2007. Okay, leading up to the 2008 presidential primary, right, between what ended up being between Obama and Clinton. So this movie was not very flattering to Hillary Clinton. Okay, it was a very anti-Hillary movie, and it was put out there just for that purpose. Okay, it was played and advertised on TV. You'll read a little bit more about this in today's work as well, today's assignment. The FEC, well, there was a complaint, of course, from the Hillary Clinton campaign to the FEC, and the FEC said, yes, it violated the McCain-Feingold, or the BCRA, 30-day limit before a primary issue advertising. Remember, that was banned in the United States of America. Advertising showing movies was banned, okay? And this is why the BCRA defined it, and this is what the FEC said. It was electioneering communication, because it was a broadcast, cable, or satellite communication that mentioned a candidate within 60 days of a general election or 30 days of a primary, and prohibited such expenditures by corporations and unions and other organizations of which Citizens United was lumped in. In the United States of America, you can't play a movie because it mentions a candidate within 30 days of a primary election in the United States of America. The D.C. Circuit Court upheld that decision and upheld the law and said, yeah, you can't show a movie in the United States of America. It's banned if it's about a candidate. All right, so the Supreme Court reversed this. That's the essence of the Citizens United decision. First Amendment speech. It was a violation of the First Amendment to prohibit corporations, unions, and nonprofits from making independent expenditures during elections because money equals speech. Okay? Here's to give you an example of how far they wanted to take this. One of the conservative Supreme Court justices, and I think it was Scalia, asked a question during the oral arguments here of the Solicitor General, the U.S. representative, U.S. government representative, arguing the case because the United States was saying, yes, this law should stay this law. He asked the lawyer for the United States of America if somebody wanted to publish a book during this time frame, could that conceivably be banned by this law? And the lawyer for the government of the United States of America in the United States of America said, yes, a book could be banned. It was possible. Okay, guys? This is really the crux of it. Okay? It did uphold, though, and you'll read more about it. It upheld the disclosure requirements and the limits on hard money. Okay? So what it did was it allowed soft money, and these things could not be banned, but it did still put the limits on hard money. All right, so again, the assignment today will be a lot more about Citizens United and some of the more intricate parts of it and some of the logic behind it. All right, so where we stand today, the last slide for this part of the unit. Individual, $2,600 to each candidate per election. An individual's maximum of $32,400 to a national party per calendar year, and $5,000 to any political committee. That is the restrictions for individuals as of the current law of the United States. Now, that individual and that national party number, that is subject to inflation, so it could change a little bit. So this is approximate. So maybe next time around it might be $2,700 or something like that. It's tied to inflation. All right, the national parties can donate $5,000 to each candidate per election. There's no limit to donations to the national party. Okay, that's soft money. And then PACs have essentially the same restrictions as individuals. $2,600 to each candidate per election, $32,400 to the national party per year. So individuals and PACs essentially have the same limitations. So this is the essence of where we stand today with this in a very simplistic manner. Again, your assignment is a little longish today because you've got a lot of things to read through and answer. So, and it all follows through to get to Citizens United. So that is it for this time around. We'll have a quiz either Thursday or Friday, and then spring break after that. So the next time you see one of these from me, it will be after spring break. So enjoy that spring break. Be safe, be careful, make smart decisions, and we'll see you back with a video after break.